Hey everybody, welcome back in to Pritches Get Stitches. Glad you found us. Thanks for being in with us today. Holly, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's been a decent week without a lot of pants wearing.
Oh, geez.
My back is feeling okay from the injections yesterday still, so those are still good. So
yeah, side note, had to take you to another doctor's appointment.
I know, man. And then you'll have to take me in 2 weeks when they do the ablation, and then hopefully no more on my back.
Oh, let's hope. Hey, so Holly,
crossed.
yeah, fingers crossed that I don't have to take you anymore. So Holly, we've it kind of changed up the show a little bit today.
You know, we have, and just listening to some of feedback that we've had from like friends and family, and right now those are our main listening base.
You know what's crazy? Real quick, what's crazy is we have 6 brothers and sisters, and we have 85 nephews and nieces. I don't even know, but it doesn't add up. The numbers don't add up. There's a lot less subscribers than there are even members of our family.
I know. We're going to have to get on that. I might have to send out a social media message to all the family.
Oh, it's never happening then.
I know. Social media and that's hard for me. But anyway, so changes, listening to the feedback that we got, what we kind of found is people don't really like the shows where we do one topic for the whole show.
Yeah, me neither.
So it's like, hey, like I don't have a problem making friends, so I'm not going to listen to that episode. And we're trying to get as many listens and likes and subscribes. So what we've decided to do, instead of doing one topic for the whole show, we'll kind of just discuss random topics. And then every once in a while, we'll have a guest on. So today, our first guest is our nephew, Reilly.
Hey.
How you doing?
And
well, it's technically our second guest. First guest just had a little segment.
True, segment. But I mean like our guest
first
full show guest. So what we're going to
Gotcha.
do is we brought Reilly on for a specific reason that we'll talk about later. But he's also going to just kind of participate in the show, and we're going to see how the format goes. So we're kind of swinging, or shooting from the hip to see how this goes.
Swinging for the fences too.
There you go.
Or we're swinging for the hips. I don't know. One of the two.
I don't know either, but we're gonna try it out and see how it goes.
All right, good. Oh, it's exciting. So Reilly, welcome, man. Glad to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be here. To be honest with you guys, it's fun.
I got to be honest, man. I haven't seen you for years.
Yeah, I've been kind of hiding out. You know what I mean? Kind of going coast to coast. But
yeah,
I was just saying it's been good. I just need to get around. It just kind of sucks that my family's so big. It's spread out all across the U.S. I feel like if you do a road trip to visit all the family, you might as well hit all 50 states while you're at it. So
that's true.
I think everybody is. Well, I guess Bryn just moved over to Ohio or something like that. But the rest of us are all,
Well, Hillary's Michigan, so if you're
Michigan.
in Ohio, then you could hit Hillary in Michigan.
I think that's the furthest east, though, and
Probably.
north. I guess the furthest north can't go much more north than Michigan.
Nah, not at all. They are right there. I wonder if they're getting any of that smoke that New York is getting, though, because I know the past couple of years I've been out here in Eastern Washington, the wildfires have been pretty bad, and it looks kind of Mad Maxy or Doomsday. The weather, everything is an orange glow, and I see pictures over there, the skyscrapers, and it looks pretty eerie.
That's how it was when I was in Utah, though. We'd get in all of the smoke from everywhere around.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my asthma would be crazy. So I will say I'm thankful we haven't had that here yet. Does it get like that down here, Scott?
Smoky?
Yeah, like they don't.
We don't usually
have wildfires, but not usually around here, right?
No, like a couple years ago, there was some like in Kansas or something, and it blew down. And so it got pretty smoky, and the sky was crazy. But it doesn't really. I think you remember the one with like from the Sahara Desert, like the cloud that moves. You guys heard of that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we had that one time. But I don't know of too many wildfires that happen around here. Do you remember the ones on Fort Hood? Like I think it was 8th grade.
Yeah.
8th grade. No joke.
Those.
It was crazy.
Like the whole of Fort Hood caught fire, and then I was actually playing at a soccer game.
Do you remember it was record-setting temperatures too from all the fires? It was 102 degrees in February.
February.
And I was playing at a soccer game. I played goalie, and Dad, remember, usually you and Dad went to my games. Mom would go every once in a while, but I can remember Dad coming up to me because I had forgotten my asthma inhaler, and I start talking to him, and he can hear me like I can't breathe. Like the way I sounded, Coach was pissed because he went over and said, "Hey, I'm pulling her. Like I'm taking her home. She's out in this. She can't breathe. I can hear her breathing. Like she's leaving." And I was varsity goalie, and coach was just pissed. But Dad's like, "Sorry." My
kid more than it's your goalie. Sorry.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. Yeah.
Hey, so real quick, you guys probably see I've got homeowner things going on today. I've got we had to get new cameras. Well, we didn't have to, but the the Vivint guys rang our doorbell. And anytime the Vivint guys ring our doorbell, we always give them the time of day because we've been with Vivint for a long time. And they're like, hey, you need new cameras. And so a couple, I don't know, maybe 5 weeks ago, we had a rash of break-ins through our neighborhood, people breaking into cars.
Is it that long ago?
Yeah, it was about 4 weeks ago, I guess, 5 weeks. I don't know.
Wow.
You know, I look at our camera and I'm like, you can't even like make the dude's face out. Like, and I realized our cameras are probably like 7 years old, like the outdoor cameras. So they knocked on our door. They're like, it was kind of convenient because I just, you know, if you know how Vivint works, you pay off. It's kind of like a phone. You pay off the equipment over a certain time. And I just got the email like a week ago, like, hey, everything's paid off. And then they ring my doorbell. And I'm like, yeah. I need a new outdoor camera. So I got the guy out here working. I said, hey, man, I'm recording this podcast. If you don't mind being in the background, he's like, it's cool. So maybe I'll shoot him a text with our podcast name so he can watch and listen and see himself in the background. There you
go. That's your fourth guest, or your third guest, I guess.
Third guest. Well, I mean, we always have cameos by my kids because they can't seem like, hey, we're recording, and they can't seem to not go across the back door there.
Well, that's how it is with kids. When you tell them not to do something, it's hard for them to not do that.
Yeah. Statement. So I'm sweating like a freaking pig over here. Just so you guys know, I got my sweat rag. I just realized I did that, and that was probably like not even a good idea.
Got the preacher rag going on.
I know, dude. Listen, it's so hot here, and my kids and my wife are like, it's like I keep my house at like 75, and they're like, it's so cold, like we have to wear a blanket in the house. I'm like, guys, I'm like sweating, and so I had to. I got outvoted 5-1. And so I had to raise the temperature, and Holly walked in and was like, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah, my house is like 67 degrees all day long. So I walk in here, I'm like insta sweat. Like, what is happening? I can't record in these conditions.
Exactly. What's it like up there, man? In Washington? What's it like?
Up here? It's pretty huge. It's 66 and it's raining. So
I hate
90 here right now, bro. It was 90 before noon.
It doesn't get into the 90s until like late July, early August, and then by the time September comes around, we're getting little flurries going. So not too bad.
It's nasty out there right now. And anyway, so I actually went and I did some exercise today. I went and rode my bike, and that was the other reason. Like my body is still like probably trying to cool down from that. But anyway, so Holly, I was wondering if you found spotted dick yet.
I did not find spotted dick.
Hey, Reilly, this is the section where we go, what are we eating? And
yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of spotted dick before. Have you ever heard of that?
I heard of the food. I've seen it. I don't know if I've seen it in person, but I know it comes in a can. And isn't it a food that people overseas enjoy, like over in the UK?
Yeah.
They eat it with their beans and toast.
I have no idea what they eat it with.
We've been trying to find it everywhere, and we can't.
Yes, I cannot find spotted dick. So, and Holly doesn't want spotted dick anywhere in or around her mouth. So we're still like, so Holly was supposed to go to HEB. Shout out to HEB. HEB would love for you to sponsor us. We love HEB. And Dr. Pepper.
I will say I drove by it yesterday. So last night I met up with my friend Colby. She wanted to take me out for my birthday. My birthday was Wednesday. So it's
her fake name though, right?
Right. That's her middle name. That's the name I call her. But she wanted to take me out. So we went to a place that on the way was HEB. And I thought, well, I'm going to turn in and check the international food section. I go to turn, the line down every aisle, just crazy, backed up, nowhere to park. I'm like, hit that another day. I was supposed to hit it on the way home, but I forgot. So
no spotted dick.
No spotted dick.
But you provided it. You provided our what are we eating?
I did. So I found this earlier. So from what I can tell.
So real quick, this was the text message I got from Holly today. I said, hey, did you get the what are we eating? Because if not, I was going to go get, I don't know, ketchup Doritos or something. And she said, yes, we need one piece of bread each with knives. And I'm like, oh, here we go.
Okay. So this was in the section. I've never had it. It is called Marmite yeast extract.
They eat that in Australia, yes. I think, right?
They eat Vegemite in Australia, which is what I was looking for.
Yeah. The heck is Marmite? Like, what is it? What's
Marmite? I don't know, but it says that I looked it up, I Googled it, and you put it on bread.
Oh.
And they eat it, I want to say in the UK, but it's vegan. So I got us some bread.
So while you're getting that prepped.
It stinks.
Let me smell it.
Woo!
What does it smell like?
Not good.
Oh, it smells like old person. While you're getting that prepped, Reilly, what are you doing right now? Like what's going on in your life?
I should be finishing my bachelor's degree at Eastern Washington in December. I've been pounding that one out. I should be getting that bachelor's degree finished in 3 years.
You didn't take the Holly plan then? You did not do the Holly plan?
No, I didn't. I didn't want to be in
12 years
school for 12 years. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is I was getting paid to go to school by the GI Bill, so I treated it just like a job. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna work through the summers. I already did that before when I was on the ship, so I just baselined it out and just kept pounding away. And
That's awesome.
yeah, I should be there. And then I want to get my master's degree. I just went to the VA yesterday to do my range of motion tests for my disability claim. And through the Yellow Ribbon program, I believe that they will pay for your graduate degree as well. So hopefully I can get my master's free of charge.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. And also, thanks for serving. That was
anytime. It was an honor serving for you guys.
Man, that's great. We appreciate that. And we were definitely, I know for us, we were praying for you every time, being in or you were in the Navy.
Yes, sir. Correct? Yes, sir. Out in Norfolk.
Definitely praying for your safety all the time, man. So appreciate that.
Yeah. Anytime,
and we'll talk more about what you're doing and everything. So let's try this. Okay, what are we eating?
This is Marmite.
And you can commentate if you want. This is
okay. Here we go.
Definitely not to be confused with Nutella.
Oh. What are you gonna do? Yeah, it kind of spreads.
It could be.
It spreads like a honey Nutella, so it could be.
Kind of be Nutella. Okay, ready?
Okay, ready?
Ooh. All right.
Marmite yeast. What did I say this was? Marmite yeast extract. Okay, here we go. Right. 1, 2, 3.
I can't chew it. I can't chew. What are you doing?
You got to do the old plug your nose trick. You know what I mean?
Oh,
we had to.
Who would want to eat this?
The same people who eat beans for breakfast. I don't think they know what's going on over there.
I would rather seaweed.
I'm happy I'm not in Dallas right now.
You got to eat it.
No, I can't eat the whole thing.
I'm not eating the whole thing. No.
Oh.
You took a tiny bite. I ate half.
Maybe that's a big bite for him, you know what I mean?
This is the worst thing I've ever tasted in my life. What is this?
What's it 20
seconds.
To?
20 seconds.
Can we drink now?
Oh.
So when?
Oh. I don't even know what it comes close to. Like at first I had like a barbecue-y flavor. Oh. Guys, this is disgusting. Oh.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
Okay, you can go. Oh my gosh.
Are you just drinking water?
I just have water.
Oh, you need to get something. You want?
Oh. This is bad. This is no more. Like you're not in charge of this anymore. Wow.
This makes me want to throw up.
Do I need to get the throw up bowl?
Oh,
the throw up bowl. That's too good.
I thought for sure it was going to be like a
maybe there was some
Nutella
sweet
honey mix.
Oh my gosh.
You were thinking something sweet was coming out of that smell?
I don't know, man. I don't know what was happening.
Oh.
That's the worst. What is that thing called?
Marmite. So Vegemite apparently is even worse.
Oh.
That's what I was looking for originally.
Like it's making my eyes water.
They love that Vegemite stuff down there, man. They eat that stuff like it's peanut butter.
Listen, it's on my fingers and Daisy, the dog, won't even lick it.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. We have a second dog right now.
Oh.
We are
I can't.
We are dog sitting. I was just prepping you, Holly. Like, look, I dog sit my neighbor's dog. So when I need a dog sitter, you're available.
You got a neighbor whose dog you dog sit.
Yeah, so we have little Daisy here. She hangs.
Yeah, that's my point. You can ask your neighbor.
Yeah, she's hanging out here with me. She likes me the most. So she hates Lulu.
Oh my God, this is terrible.
You got a dog named Lulu?
I have a dog named Lulu.
Ugh.
That's funny. My mom has a cat named Lulu. It's too funny.
Kids named her Lululemon.
That's Lululemon.
That's her middle name is Lemon. Lululemon.
Oh.
This is not going to go away. I may need to go see.
Aunt Holly, Ty, naming y'all's animals super long names. I mean, I guess Lululemon's not that long compared to what was it, Inspector
Let's see. We had Inspector Phineas von Owens III.
Yeah.
Then we had Frau Olga von Hunsen, and then we had Don Ciclope Luciano Diocchio, and he's still alive. But we called Inspector Phineas von Owens Inspector. Olga von Hunsen was Frau. No, it was not Frau.
Frau Farbissina
was Oma, and then
which one didn't have an eye?
Diocchio was Lucky.
I forgot one. That
Lucky's still alive.
About that.
He's still alive. My old roommate Elizabeth has him.
Hey,
he is lucky.
Oh,
jinx. He is lucky. Hey,
this is terrible.
Yeah, it's gross. It's still like
it's like sitting there.
Reilly, you got to go get some, man. It's delicious.
So, yeah, I'll try it out. And let y'all know.
Hey, but it has carrot and onion juice. Carrot and onion juice concentrate.
There you go. Carrot onion. Well, we're going to be healthy now. We are not going to be sick.
I didn't know you could juice an onion.
This is like the nastiest.
So you don't necessarily juice the onion. So you let the onion sit in water. and then it just gets all its stuff
gotcha.
out. Same with
That
the
makes
carrots. You
sense.
just let them. You let
One of
the
those crazy things that Val makes me do whenever I'm sick.
you let the carrots and the onions sit in the water, and it.
I don't even have
Hold on.
gum. What is happening?
No more orbits.
Oh, no, I'm out.
So
It's in my
gross.
car, I think.
Disgusting.
I can't get this taste out of my mouth.
All
You got
right,
any more
so
toothpaste left over?
I do have some right here.
There you go, man.
That's some brought it in with
Oh,
me.
I can't even right now. Okay, so by far, that's been the worst.
Yeah, that's the worst thing I've ever tasted. I would
Okay, but
I would
let's
much rather
rank.
eat the seaweed. I mean,
what's the worst? Then
number one is Bluebell Dr. Pepper float ice cream. That's number one. I don't know.
No,
if
I'm
we can
talking
beat that.
worst to best.
Okay, so we had seaweed. We've had. That's it.
No, we had the Suja.
Oh, Sujas.
So far, I'm going to say Marmite is the worst.
Oh, that's the worst. Seaweed, and then your Suja was worse than mine.
Suju. Okay, I can't believe I'm going to share this, but that Suja you gave me was a probiotic one. Bro, I was in the bathroom the rest of the day. I had a date that night that I had to cancel because I'm like, I'm very regular. I drink coffee on a daily basis. And I'm like, how am I still pooping? It has been hours. I had to cancel my date because I could not get out of the bathroom. So
That's funny because mine was the digestive one, and it didn't affect me.
oh,
But you
no, mine
texted me.
was- Oh, it was so bad. So Marmite is number one, the worst.
Oh, I don't even know what that's going to do to my insides or my poop.
Oh, yeast extract.
Are you
And people
supposed to
just
eat it?
that on bread? Yes, I googled it. You eat it on bread.
We just have a plain
Have
piece of
y'all-
bread.
Have y'all heard of the? I don't want to stay on this topic if y'all don't want to stay on this topic, but have y'all heard of like the microbiota transplants, like the fecal transplants,
No.
where
Tell
they
me
take
about it.
somebody? So they basically, I'm no expert on it, right? So this is a just a summary on it, and if you want to look up into it, you're more than welcome. But somebody has like gastrointestinal problems, so they take the poop from somebody who's healthy and has like a healthy bacteria environment in their large intestine, and they take the poop out and put it into somebody else. So their microbiome, like the healthy poop, can like work its magic in somebody else's large
I
intestine. So
actually
they're like,
have heard of that. And I'm going to say, no, I'm not a proponent of that. I don't want somebody else's poop in me.
yeah, I don't know. It just
That's right
popped
up
in
your
my
alley,
head.
Holly.
Yeah,
you
no more,
know what she's gonna do, Riley. She's gonna like research the heck out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have a conversation on this now.
Yeah,
Okay, but
no
it
more,
says Marmite has traditionally been eaten as a savory spread on bread, toast, savory biscuits, or crackers. It can be made into a savory hot drink
Ew.
Oh,
by adding 1 teaspoon to a mug of hot water. It's also commonly used to enrich casseroles and stews. It's often paired with cheese and turned into a cheese sandwich. And
that
in
sounds
the
gross.
UK, Starbucks offers a cheese and Marmite panini. Can you imagine?
In the US, or is that like a UK option?
UK.
Yeah.
So you can go over there and get a cheese and Marmite panini.
All I know about the UK is that they're not known for their food. They're known for their drinks. Not so much their food.
Oh, well, I know why.
Yeah,
That Marmite. That was terrible.
it's probably
Yeah,
hard to
that's-
cook when you had a couple.
that's disgusting. But hey, good job bringing the extra piece of bread in and not spreading it with Marmite or whatever it's called, so that it actually helped. Actually.
That did help. But that was bad. Okay.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so let's move on from Marmite. Geez. Riley, what's the worst food you've ever tried?
It had to have been on the ship. We had some. It had to have been mid rats, and that's why I got this tattoo right here with the mid rat. His name is that he's a tired rat with dragging a broom, because all I did on the boat, it seemed like, was clean all hours of the day. But it was pretty gnarly what mid rats was. So when you work the night shift on the boat, your lunch is at midnight. And what it is a combination of all the leftovers from lunch, dinner, mixed with scrambled eggs, and they slap it on your tray, and that's what you eat.
That's
Yeah,
gross.
yeah. And I always brought a can of Tony's Creole seasoning with me, and I just sprinkled that on everything, and I'd go through the line, and the cooks would always be giving me crap. They're like, if I gotta eat this crappy food, you gotta eat it too. And I'd like, please, man, take as much as you want, man. Take as much as you want. Nobody should be eating this stuff, man. And I just sprinkled enough on all my stuff to where it just tasted like Tony's instead of mush.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was pretty nasty stuff. I remember this one time I got a chicken nugget and I bent my fork on it. How hard it was. Yeah, they only got the best food on the boat. But I guess you can't really be begging when it's free. So
No, it wasn't a cruise ship style.
nah, nope, no Carnival cruises there.
Yo, those guys, there's people on those ships, man. They're cleaning all day. Like they're cleaning, they're painting. It's crazy how many you see, they have to because the ship never goes in port. So they're just always cleaning and always painting and fixing stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, and for the aircraft carriers, their lifespan is about 50 years. So the halfway point would be 25, and that's when it gets refurbished. And I was on the George Washington when it got refurbished because it was commissioned in the early 90s. And then they sent me to the Gerald R. Ford, which was the newest super carrier that the U.S. has made. And that one, compared to the G-Dub, night and day difference, like the technological advancements that we had on that one. And it was neat because it even came down to like your berthings had scanners. So you would scan your cat car and it would open it up for you. So other people couldn't go into your berthings and mess around with your stuff and things like that. Yeah, it was pretty neat. The newer ones was the better ones for sure.
Cool. That's awesome. So Holly, fun fact of the day. Looks like, what's it about today?
So a couple of weeks ago, you brought up at the end of the show, hey, next week we're going to talk about, did we land on the moon? Well, we forgot that we were supposed to talk about that.
I never remember what we talked about till I'm editing it. Yeah. And it's usually like 8 days, like 10 days later.
So then when you were editing that one, you texted me and you're like, shoot, we were supposed to talk about, did we land on the moon? So immediately we have like a Word doc or whatever that we just have like list of topics that we could bring up, but it's not scripted, but I wanted to make sure we didn't forget to talk about the moon. So I created today's and put, did we land on the moon as one of the topics. And because of that, today's fun facts are going to be about the moon.
Okay.
So moon dust apparently smells like gunpowder. And for those astronauts who did expeditions to the moon and blah, 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 the moon dust actually caused a type of hay fever among them to where they had, the sneezing, the coughing, all of that you would get with hay fever. The doctors attributed that to the moon dust. And the moon has no protective covering. So during the day, temperatures reach as high as 107 degrees Celsius, which I forgot to do my calculations to see what that would be in Fahrenheit.
Here, I'll do it. Alexa, how much is 100 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
So
boiling. 212.
So, yeah, so 107 degrees Celsius during the day. And at night, it gets as cold as negative 153 degrees Celsius. So, I mean,
300s.
Speaking of Celsius, so real quick, so 32 degrees Fahrenheit equals 0 degrees Celsius, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So does 0 degrees Celsius plus 0 degrees Celsius equals 64 degrees Fahrenheit?
No, because I feel like it would just equal out at that point.
I don't know what you just said.
Because it's like a pound of feathers versus a pound of bricks, right? At that point.
But aren't a pound of bricks heavier, though, in the end?
I mean, if it's a pound and a pound.
You can still lift a pound of feathers. Can you lift a pound of bricks?
Yeah, I can lift a pound of bricks.
I wanted to see what you guys would say.
So let me say, so 0 degrees Celsius plus 0 degrees Celsius, does that equal 64 degrees Fahrenheit?
I don't know. No. I feel like it just cancels out. It's like one of them weird math rules.
Don't make us look dumb on this show, bro.
I'm just saying, 32 is equal to 0. So
yeah, I guess. I don't know. 0 to 0.
I feel like it's kind of like an algebra and dropping the numbers and dropping the letters and putting the numbers in there. A plus B equals 64.
I suck at math, so.
Same. I have a math learning disability, actually, so I'm gonna.
So when you say the moon has no covering, you're talking like atmosphere?
Correct.
Okay.
So they call it no protective covering. And then we always see the same side of the moon because of the almost equal rotation between the moon and the Earth. And
I mean, it would have to be completely equal rotation, wouldn't it? Because if it was almost completely, at some point, the almost would start to move the moon. Like you would start to see it different.
Right.
Like even if it was like it rotates at a minute faster, like at some point.
At some point, I would assume, I guess you would see a little bit more, but the Earth rotates faster than the moon, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But it just says that we always see the same side. Okay. So, and that the ocean's tides are a direct result of the moon's gravitational pull. Mm-hmm. Okay. The last time anyone walked on the moon was 14 December 1972.
We haven't been back. We don't have the technology.
The only country to ever land a manned shuttle on the moon was the U.S. However, the U.S., Russia, China, and Japan have all successfully landed unmanned aircraft. So that's about the moon landing there.
Okay. Yay, moon landing.
Because what's weird about me with the moon landing is I guess you said unmanned, which kind of answers it, because I know that China landed on the moon for like the first time in 2013, which is weird to me because our first time was 1967.
Well, 1972. Oh, no, yeah, correct. Last time they did it was 1969, I think. 1969. But here's my thing. I mean, do we want to discuss this now or do we want to get into this a little bit?
I mean, 1960, we couldn't even make a rocket take off. And 9 years later, we land on the moon.
Right.
I feel like it was kind of just more of a... like the old "We Can Do It" posters with the woman and she's flexing. I feel like that's what it kind of was. It was to hype up America. You know what I mean? They're like, we're number one. We just landed on the moon. Russia can't do that. They only send monkeys up there. You know what I mean? And we're like, all for it.
We made it through everything. We made it through the Van Allen radiation belt. We made it through the asteroid belt, and we went to the moon.
Yeah,
Here's
we
the
even
thing
brought
I
some
don't get.
Coca-Cola with us too.
And they say like, oh, sorry, I'm burping this Marmite. Oh, that we don't have the technology. But I feel like isn't technology in 2023 a lot better than 1972 technology,
Well,
1969
they lost it. They say
technology?
they lost the technology. They don't
Which
have
is
it
weird.
anymore.
So they've not been able in 50 years to come up with technology.
It's all
Or
gone.
reverse engineer it with the documents and the blueprints they had to engineer it.
Here's the only thing. This is the argument, and this is the argument Dad gives us, and I know he's listening, and he's not going to be happy with us that we're saying these things, but he's like, I watched it live, and I'm like, dude, I've seen movies. Like I watch movies all the time, bro. I mean,
it happened.
The Transformers look like they were straight up on the moon.
So there's this show. There's a show, and it's a movie. And it's a B movie, and it's pretty awful as far as like acting and filming, but it's called Operation Avalanche.
I saw that one.
And it explains how the moon landing could have been faked. And I was already iffy about, do I believe that we landed on the moon? Because I'm like, we've not been back since the early 70s as far as landing. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. And in that movie, what it is they talk about, they had so long based on the JFK, we're going to the moon speech to land on the moon. And so they got some guys, I can't remember the whole thing. I haven't watched it in a minute, but they came up with this plan that they were going to film a moon landing, but it was only going to be a certain amount of people knew it, like the people involved, blah, blah, blah. It was a CIA type of project.
Right.
They filmed the landing and it explains through everything. And in the end, I want to say there was maybe because it was the people who filmed it. They had to have a couple people who created props. And in the end, everybody who watched it on TV and everybody who was in the station
control
center, they believed it happened because somehow they switched over the feed to show the movie of them landing on the moon, blah, blah, blah. And the CIA killed everybody involved in filming it. So nobody who remained alive or nobody who filmed the show remained alive. And if you take out all the witnesses, then everybody's going to believe it happened. It sounds crazy when you explain it, but when you watch the movie, it's like, wow, that actually
and that's the biggest thing.
Sense.
That's the biggest thing with Dad is he says it's too big of a thing to fake. And I'm like, yes, but the only people that have to know are the few people that know that it's fake.
Mm-hmm. And then if you get rid of the people who know,
I mean, except Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong are still alive.
I mean, there's a price.
Well,
that's true too. And I feel like
everybody has a price.
Yeah. And it's like that quote, where it's like you tell yourself a lie so much it becomes a truth. It could be that.
That's it.
And it's not like the U.S. hasn't been deceiving everybody on other stuff too. Because I mean, even with the Boeing plant on the west side of Washington in World War II, they created a fake neighborhood on top of it with little houses, little trees and stuff like that. So when Japan or whomever was flying over to, do strategic bombings, they can't bomb neighborhoods because of civilians. So, we kind of hide it in plain sight, do the same thing in black and white for the moon landing.
Yeah. It's like the British, they had I think it was either the 12th or the 8th Army Brigade. And basically all it was a bunch of artists who created tanks and airplanes and all of this out of cardboard and wood because they needed the enemy, the Axis powers to believe that they had all of these tanks set up, hundreds and hundreds of tanks and all of these reinforcements so that when they would fly reconnaissance from the air, they looked real, but they weren't. They were the ghost army. So yeah, man, I just don't know. I mean, I know Dad is adamant that I watched it, this happened, but I just feel there's too many questions. How have we not gone back?
Yeah, there's way too many questions for me. And me, I'm conspiracy theory guy. And so I, have watched a ton of stuff. There's just little things that the average person may not look at or realize. And one of those things is, like when they have a picture of the lunar module, on the moon and in order to land that thing, which by the way, Neil Armstrong never successfully landed any of them when he was practiced here on Earth. But yet first shot, he got it done. But it has a rocket to slow it down. And there is no rocket crater. There's no dust on the feet of the module. You're going to have dust. There is some, not atmosphere, but gravity on the moon. There's gravity. So that dust will come back down, but there's just a ton of things. Obviously the one that recently that I've been kind of looking at, and this is right now, I have all those other things, all the other things that people say, well, there's not this, there's not that, the flag waving, all these little things that you can that you can look at. But the one for me, and I'd have to do some more research on this, and Holly, I'm saying that so that you go do the research on this, but you look at what is the spaceship made out of, and then look at the melting point of each of those things. and then look at the thermosphere and how hot it is. And I just remember as a kid, I'm like, I even asked that question. Not that I was, as a kid, I wasn't like, oh, we didn't land on the moon. I'm questioning this because I was, 8. But I remember asking like, well, how, if it's so hot, how did they like not melt as they came in? And the answer was always like, well, it depends on the angle and the trajectory of the spaceship, and you can go right through it. But I'm like, 6,000 degrees is 6,000 degrees. Like, what's the melting point of glass and of aluminum and all these things? And you're going to tell me, and I just read something on it the other day, and they're like, well, it's hot, but it's not like the molecules aren't all together. And so it doesn't really melt stuff that way. But I'm like, hot is hot. Like, maybe that's just my, like, I'm on Earth, sitting in hot outside. And, I've seen things melt. There's melting points of things. I've seen things melt here. Like, how can you get that rocket through 6,000 degrees, or whatever the thermosphere is?
I don't know. Maybe we need to become friends with like a rocket scientist. We need to become friends with a rocket scientist and bring that rocket scientist on the show to explain it. But I don't know that I'd still believe him anyway.
Yeah,
I guess, I don't know. I just think it's too much. I feel like,
well, there's some out there that used to work for NASA, and they're like, dude, there's no way. Yeah,
I can't figure out how you can't figure out the technology. We can figure out AI. We can figure out how to cure diseases that don't have cures. We can do all of these things, and we can't figure out how to get through the moon. I think it's because it's faked. I don't think we went to the moon. Everybody involved in it is dead.
All right, raise your hand if you don't think we went to the moon.
I'm like that.
Okay,
I like to believe.
You're still young, my friend. You're still young.
I like to believe it
Padawan.
too, but I
like
feel
the
like
story. I like the story. I like, when my kids are learning about it in school. Hey, we went to the moon. I'm like, hey guys, like, I straight up tell them, I'm like, hey, I don't believe we went to the moon. You can believe what you want. Do your own research. I don't believe it, and I'm not going to take the hype away, like the cool, like, hey, we just learned we went to the moon. Like, oh, awesome, that's great. Yeah, I'll be say like, yeah, we did, 1969. I don't know if I believe it, but they say we did.
And I'm not even like a conspiracy theorist, but I just think that that's like and nobody else has been able to figure it out. Yeah, Russia,
exactly.
China,
well, and that's what I was saying earlier.
Countries that are on the cusp of technology, they can't figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I just think it's fake as fuck. I don't think that we've gone. I think it's a lie, and everybody involved is dead. That's just the way I feel. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Something doesn't add up. Like 1 + 1 is not equaling 2.
Yeah, 0 + 0 does not equal 64.
There you go.
That's what it does.
But that's what I was saying too. Like the technology in the 60s, 70s compared to what it was. I mean, even in 2013 with China going up there, and even right now. We're leaps and bounds ahead of what we were back then. We got supercomputers in our pockets, but I don't know. We figured it out how to do it back then. Like, it's just a little weird. It is.
And there's like, I don't honestly, like anything the government says, like I take with a grain of salt. Like, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's left side, right side. I don't believe, because the government can, I never saw the movie, but there was a movie that came out, Wag the Dog. He had to create this fake war, right? Sure. And that's kind of how I feel about a lot of things. Is we can create this fake thing, and then it, rah, America, we're better than everybody else. I mean,
weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and we all bought it hook, line, and sinker.
It's just because of fear mongering. Yeah. It's just they take the emotions, and they try to get everybody to think emotionally rather than logically.
Well, and I think that's the thing too. When you consider when the moon landing happened, it was during Cold War time.
Yeah.
And Russia had sent somebody into space.
Yeah.
Now granted, they didn't land, but they were in space first. And it's like,
but space, even then, space is like, when you talk about space, you haven't gone through the complete atmosphere of the Earth.
But they had sent it there. So now it's like, we can't allow the Russians to come out on top, because that means communism is better than democracy. Mm-hmm. And so now we have to say that we've landed on the moon. I just think that it's all too convenient. I just don't agree with it. I mean, and I just can't, that doesn't make sense to me in my mind. And I'm a super analytical person, and I have read up both sides of it back and forth a million times. And in the end, I mean, I can remember the first time I said that to Dad, that I didn't think we landed on the moon. And he was upset. He's like, you sound like your brother. And I'm like, oh, who else doesn't believe? And then like you and I talked about it. He's like, your little brother, he doesn't think we landed on the moon either. And I'm like, oh no, I totally don't think we did. 100% don't think we did. Like, and we haven't been back since 1972.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's 51 years and we haven't been back. Give me a break.
Yeah, it sounded like a lot like my dad can beat up your dad sort of situation. You know what I mean? With that, they're like, well, we went to space first. And they're like, all right, well, we went to the moon.
Right.
Because at the time, what else was there? What was, now it's Mars, right? Now we're on Mars.
Sure.
I'm like, okay.
Do you think that's ever going to be colonized, Mars?
No.
I think Elon Musk, he's trying. Now we're gonna leave it at this. Okay, we got our thoughts out on the moon, but you should look into the flat Earth theories. You haven't. Those are interesting. I don't believe it. I'm not a flat earther at all.
Flat earthers.
I'm not a flat earther, but definitely look at it. Like I watch some of their stuff, and I have questions. I'm like, okay, if you're gonna flat Earth, how do you do this? And so I look it up and I research. And they've got the theories, they've got their reasons, and it's compelling. It's a compelling argument. And one of their arguments is, I'm not going to get into it. One of their arguments is, we're on a flat, flat plane, and Antarctica is a ice wall around us, and next door to us is Mars. So Mars isn't actually out in the. So the point is, Elon Musk is working to get to Mars, which is over the ice wall.
He's not even like freaking gotten to the moon yet.
Well,
so how many times have his rockets blown up?
Wait, which one had the penis rockets? That was Amazon, wasn't it?
No, I thought that was Austin.
Wasn't that Bezos?
Evil.
Wasn't that Bezos though? Look at it. Look it up. Bezos is
Dr. Evil had the penis spaceship.
He did, but I think Bezos created it too.
Let's see. Jeff
Go ahead.
Bezos rocket. Oh, I mean, yeah, it doesn't look quite like Dr. Evil's, but it's missing two things on the bottom. But it was.
Oh, yeah.
That's Bezos's rocket.
That's awesome.
if we could see it.
That's funny. That's funny. Okay, so we'll leave it there. But I would say, hey, look that up. Look up if you want some fun stuff, some interesting stuff, like look up the flat Earth theories, because there's just a bunch of fun things. Like I said, I'm not there. I believe we live in a round sphere out in the space, but it's interesting stuff. So, anything else on the moon you wanted to discuss? I mean, we kind of. There's a lot of compelling stuff either way, and we could talk about this for a long time. And honestly, like we brought Reilly on to share some stuff with us, and we're, 45 minutes in already.
Well, let's talk about Reilly's stuff.
Yeah. So real quick, Reilly, you said you're going to school. I kind of hit on that.
What's your concentration?
It's entrepreneurship. It's I think it's BSB. Yeah.
That's your kind of guy right there, Scotty O.
Yes, sir. I got I know the majors and minors don't really matter once you're out, but I got the minor in communications and economics as well, doing it well for me, kind of making me well-rounded. But I've had a lot of fun with my entrepreneurship side in those classes. I enjoy those ones a lot more. The professors are, the whole environment of those classes is something I enjoy. It's not strictly like grade, test, and then moving on. It's how to share an idea, how to talk to people, how to just actually how to do things. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy learning something rather than learning how to do test material.
And so as part of that, you had to, am I correct in this? You had to create a product or something to that effect?
Yeah. So for one of my first entrepreneurship classes, when I was a freshman, we had to come up with the product. And at the time, my cousin Jake was living up here, and he was an avid hunter, and we would go out for elk quite a bit. And we never got anything though. But the one thing I got from our hunts was the toothpaste idea, because with elk hunting, it's a little bit different than Texas deer hunting, where you sit in a stand all day drinking beer and hopefully waiting for something to come up. You have to go walk around and go chase these things down and look at their poop and their footprints and things like that. And you have this pack on you. And when I had this pack on me, it was stuffed to the brim. It looked like an overfilled Christmas stocking. I went to open it up to change my shirt the next day, and I had all this goo all over my hunting shirts, and it was my toothpaste. It had exploded when we were walking, and now that my hunting stuff smelled minty fresh, I wasn't really much of a help in the tracking of the
smell
animal.
You.
Oh yeah, and that's probably why we didn't find anything, because they smelt the dentist walking around in the forest. But I was just like, I was a little irritated about it. And we went back to camp and went home, and I was just sitting there stewing about it and thinking, I was just like, well, how could I make this better? And I thought about freeze dried because of the Skittles, like the little freeze dried Skittles. And I was just like, well, I don't know how to do that. And then I did a little bit of research, and I came across dehydrated toothpaste. So I portioned out my toothpaste into like little chocolate chips, basically dehydrated it, and did some other things to it that is secret. No, I'm joking. But I made it. I put it in the little Altoids tin because I wanted something compact that would keep it, from spilling out everywhere. And the next time we went hunting, I was using it, and it worked great. And I was pretty impressed with it. So I took the idea to my professors, and they got stars in their eyes, which led me to believe I was onto something. And my professor went to his wallet, took out $300, handed it to me, and said, "Here's to get you started. I want I want 10 prototypes by next week so you can bring them to class, give them to your classmates so they can test it and give you like authentic consumer feedback. So I did that, got the 10 toothpastes and the tins made up, and I gave them all each a week supply, so about 14 tablets. And then after I handed them out, another week went by, and I get it all back. And the only complaint I had was that I didn't give them enough toothpaste, that they wanted more. So, and it was pretty neat. And then after that, every single entrepreneurship class I took after that, I would just recycle it and reuse it and develop it a little bit more. And I had great teammates that would work on me with me on some classes, and they pitch me ideas, and it's just fun. And I've worked with Nathan a little bit on how to do my toothbrush. I had him because he has a 3D printer out in Michigan, so I sent him some stuff. And he sent me back.
Nathan's our just for the listeners. Nathan's your cousin, our nephew,
another nephew from another sister. Yeah.
The sample I gave you and Aunt Holly, it comes in the little black box. The only thing I didn't give y'all was the sustainable zero waste toothbrush, which is a bamboo interchangeable head, a stainless steel handle, and you could just screw it in easy like that. You could use it, and then when you are done using the head, you throw it out because it's just bamboo. So then it'll be biodegradable, and there's no need to get rid of this because it's stainless steel, and it fits just like that inside. With the toothpaste as well. And I'm gonna have to develop this a little bit more so I can keep them separate for when the toothbrush is wet. And what I liked about it as well is that you didn't need any water to brush your teeth. You just pop in one of the tablets, and I showed Aunt Holly when I was in Utah, and and I'm sure you guys use it as well, but it's pretty simple to use. It's activated by your own saliva. So you can brush it when you're on top of a mountain. You can brush it when you're in your car. And I was really marketing it towards hunters and backpackers and like the outdoorsy type people, but the more classes I took and the more people I worked with and the more samples I got out, I gave it to some parents, and they said that they really liked it because it was portion sized. And they said that their kids were really messy in the bathroom when they were learning how to brush their teeth.
Yeah.
And so
in there.
Yeah. Thankfully I haven't been yet. So, but they pop up.
I was talking about myself. I was talking about my kids. Talking about me.
And yeah, I mean, it was just easy to use. And then I thought about the military, because when I was in the Navy, the only space you have is a coffin rack, and it's not that big. I think it's like 6 feet by 3 feet tall, and you're in this box, and the space is limited. So what better way to get month's supply of toothpaste in a box this big rather than 3 tubes of toothpaste that you got to lug around? And the same thing with the Army and Marines. They can put it in their pack. It's durable. It's not gonna bust open. And then the Air Force guys, they can keep it in their top drawer of their desk or whatever. Brush their teeth before their meetings. But it just seems to be hitting a lot of bases that I didn't think that the doors were going to open to. And it just seems like my product is it's just a little bit time for a change. I feel like the paste has been around forever, and maybe this will make things a little bit more simpler for people, even for air travelers. It doesn't have to abide by the 3.8 ounce rule for TSA because it's not a liquid. And all your stuff is together with your toothbrush and your toothpaste. So you don't have to worry about your nail clippers touching your bristles on your toothbrush and things like that. I mean, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I pack those things separate. Like the toothbrush is its own entity when I'm going. Yep. And then the final thing too, for the backpackers and the hunters, is I could make the toothpaste scent free. So when you're out in bear country or cougar country or wherever where that matters, where you don't want to attract predators, you use the scent free stuff. So you're good to go. You don't smell like mint, and they don't smell something foody. They're not attracted to your base camp because you're spitting your toothpaste out right next to your tent.
That's awesome. So how far are you away from like becoming a gazillionaire?
I don't know, man. I have no idea. I think about it at times, and I feel like that's just kind of how it goes. You don't really realize how far you are until you walk through that door, for sure. I do have a website up that I made last class, but I need to tweak that a little bit more because it took the web address of an older thing I was doing when I was in the Navy. It's like Dirty Goat Performance instead of Tactical Toothpaste. So I don't want to be doing that one.
Yeah, Dirty
so I have
Goat,
to tweak that. Yeah, that one was fun, but I was just trying to learn the marketing for that one. But
it might not be bad. Like, hey, get Dirty Goat toothpaste. That
is true because goats do eat anything. So maybe
Dirty Goat toothpaste.
It could be Dirty Goat toothpaste.
Yeah.
There you go.
I just need 50%.
50%. Yeah, I got you.
Just kidding.
But yeah, I would say I'm pretty close. The biggest issue I would say that I'm running into is just funding and time. I'm the sole person on it. And I work full time at. I'm this guy's personal assistant, and I run his lumber yard with him. So that takes up a lot of my time, and then school takes up a lot of my time. and then my own little family with my fiance and 2 dogs. So it's just I kind of spread thin, and it's hard to concentrate on one thing. But it definitely helps when I can work on it in class. It's a designated time for me to continue to move, and I've done a lot of things. I did the surveys for the customers, and I've had the feedback. I've done the research and development. I've reached out to some suppliers out in China to do a white label product, because I don't have enough money to create an own factory. And, and if I'm getting go ahead.
Let me interrupt you real quick, Reilly. So speaking of money, how much money do you think that you would need invested to get this going? Like, this isn't
to get it up and running, and for it to be successful. And I would say to get rid of a lot of the hiccups. I've done research on that, and we worked with a program called Exec, which is really cool. If you're interested in opening up a business, it walks you through step by step everything, and it has everything that you thought. It makes sure that you don't overlook anything. And when we calculated it, we were about $32,000 is what we would need to get everything up, because I would need the supply and just ways to do the shipping and to just iron out some wrinkles with it. And I think that's just below the average, because I believe the average for a startup is 40,000. So I mean, I'm 8 below the average, which I feel like is a pretty good place to be, especially when you're wanting to start up. So do you have a business plan written that shows all of this and lays it all out? Yes, not on me currently. It's in the files in my computer, because that's what we were doing with the EZEC program. Is you create the business model and you kind of walk through that, and then it comes to a business plan, and you have all your other figures and steps just kind of tied into that. So I do have it written up, and I am open to suggestions and help for sure, because this is my first time doing anything like this. So I'm kind of navigating these waters by myself, and it's just kind of intimidating for sure. Behind the wheel of this thing, and you're going through not knowing what the correct step is.
My thought is that your uncle's sitting here.
I'm intrigued. I'll tell you right now, I'm
intrigued. And I know he's got buddies who were going to be intrigued when he discusses this with them. And I don't know if you know, but your uncle lives in a bougie part of Texas.
Yeah, Dallas.
He's got bougie friends. So they may be your group. So I was asking about a business plan, because if you get that business plan over to Uncle Scott, he may be able to get you some investors.
For sure. I'll look into that, and I'll make sure that it's typed up clean and neat before I send it over.
Yeah, I am intrigued for sure. We will definitely talk more off air here, but
and my line is always open.
Yeah, I just got your phone number, by the way. I have 2 other phone numbers for you, but they're obviously not correct. You said something that, as an entrepreneur myself, and as somebody who started a business, it's like, what's the next step? How do I, am I taking the right step? Here's the thing, man. The only advice I can give you is really, there is no next step. There is no right step. It's just you do, And as I look back on what I've done to start my business and helping my kids start their own businesses and doing those things, is the biggest thing is just doing, and you don't know the outcome. You don't know the end game. Realistically, when I look at where I'm at today, 15 years after starting my business, I'd never imagined I would be where I'm at. I mean, even just me and Holly right now doing this podcast, like we just did, like we could have talked about it for, forever and gone around and, hey, what are we going to talk about? We just showed up one day and said, hey, we're going to record. We went and bought a couple things. As I look back, people are saying, I can't believe you were willing to take that risk, take the risk you did. And for me, it wasn't, at the time, I didn't feel like a risk. Like, oh, I'm going to quit my job where I make pretty good money to start this business that I don't even know if it's going to work. To the average world, that's like a huge risk. And I've talked to Holly about that extensively, and she's like, I'm not willing to do that. And
I'm too practical.
And I talked to a guy yesterday. I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he's like, I was talking about business, and he was talking about, he and his wife do very well. They both work. They both have jobs. He's like, the one thing that's killing me is taxes. And he's like, I know that if I had a business, it would be different. And he's like, but I just love that my paycheck's going to come in every week and I don't have to worry about it. And that's the mentality of most people, which is fine. I have nothing wrong with that. But there's a few of us in this world that are willing to take some of those risks that, luckily I have a wife who kind of keeps me grounded, because there are times, I mean, like I'd have 85 businesses if she wasn't like, hey, let's rethink that. And so, dude, this awesome. It's an awesome idea. It's an awesome product. I think that, we'll talk more, man. About, Holly told me a little bit about it. I've got mine here. I think that you're closer than you think you are. You've got the product. You've got the idea. You've got what you need. Now it's just, how do we distribute it? And the biggest thing is you just simply do it. How do I distribute it? What's crazy is I know a guy who all he does, he's built a business on helping companies that sell through Amazon like become number one. That's what
Interesting.
He's a good friend of mine. So
that was my biggest issue because Dirty Goat was it was kind of like an off-road club, and I sold like little shirts and stickers, but that was my biggest issue was the distribution of the products, and that would eat up all my costs was the shipping, because I was paying that all out of pocket, because that's kind of like the main cutoff point for some people. If it doesn't have free shipping, they're going to find something else,
right?
And that's my biggest issue, would just be the distribution and how to navigate that and get it out. Because like you said, I mean, I do have the product. I know how to make it. I have a general idea of where I want to go and what other products I want to bring on. Because I want to be a zero waste or sustainable oral hygiene company,
right.
To where plastic tubes don't end up in landfills, plastic toothbrushes don't end up in landfills, and the floss, and it can go on and on because it's all just plastic, And I feel like if I could just get rid of that for a little bit, like all just the one-use plastic waste, I just feel like it would just be a little bit better, because we got over 7 billion people in the world. Each one of them got to brush their teeth, and if every single one of them is throwing away a plastic toothbrush a month, that's just a lot of garbage floating in the ocean.
You change your toothbrush once a month?
Well, I change out the.
I'm like Dad. You remember Dad's toothbrushes, and they would be like, well used. That's me. I'm like, how much longer can I use this toothbrush?
I use the fake electric ones. So they're not the expensive electric ones. They're the ones that are like $8 and it works for the battery lasts a month and then you got to get a new one. That's the only reason mine gets changed every month.
I got the Sonicare toothbrush, so it beeps at me. It lets me know when to change it out.
I guess.
So it's about once a month for sure. And because I used to be like that, to where I would change the toothbrush once the bristles were kind of like that.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. That's great. That's how that's how Grandma taught me. So. Well, dude, I think it's awesome. I think it's a great idea. I would have never thought of something like that. I've used it. I've used the product. I'm not going to say I use it every time, because I kind of like holding on to them. I was waiting to really talk to you about it, and I wanted to have some here.
For sure.
But it's pretty cool little product.
Legit, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you.
I've used it, and it was definitely, I was a little skeptical, I'll say. Even when you showed it me, I was like, I just don't know how good this is going to work. And then I used it several times. I was like
brushing my teeth.
Man, it's great. And I'll say though, I'm one of those weirdos. I have OCD about some things. So 14 days was like a week for me, or 14 tablets. I'd have to be one of those who order a lot, because I brush my teeth a lot. But
yeah, and that's what I was thinking about doing. Would be a 4-month supply. So, and then you could order it or set up a subscription base to where it just delivers to your door. Yep. And we got the
models are one of the best.
Yeah, and then we could have the zero waste packaging or recyclable packaging, and it just delivers you the heads and the toothpaste, because you already have the tin, so there would be no need to re-deliver a tin every time. And I think that's just kind of the way to go, because if you have it set up to where you know how many times you brush your teeth and how fast you go through the product, I think a 4-month supply is good enough, because then you're not bombarded with a half-year supply, but you're also not skimping yourself with only a month. So
I'll tell you what, man, I have some Dollar Shave Club razors coming out of my freaking ears, man. So
you got too many.
Subscription works. Subscriptions work.
That it does.
Dude, that's awesome. All right, I was just gonna say, man, this sounds great. I'm definitely gonna push this podcast to some friends of mine, and hopefully get some meetings set up and things going, and we'll talk more offline. But I think you got something, man. Like, Holly told me about it, and she just kind of mentioned hunting and hunters, and I'm like, yeah, but I mean, you mentioned anywhere. There's somebody on the go, Holly on the go, always brushing her teeth. I think you got in trouble. I think you got in trouble from your dentist for brushing too much.
I did.
Yeah, overbrushing.
I did. I went to the dentist, and he was like, you've got brush marks on your teeth, like your gums. He's like, you need to, how many times do you brush your teeth? And I'll say at the time it was a lot. Like I don't know where it comes from, this little OCD that I have, but it was, I was probably brushing my teeth like 10 to 20 times a day. He was like, you need to cut back. So now I probably do it maybe 5 to 10 times a day. It's hard, and then it's weird too.
You brush 5 to 10 times a day?
Yeah. I'll wake up in the morning, I brush. And so here's the weird thing. I have to brush my teeth before I have coffee, because I need to have that minty flavor in my mouth before I drink my coffee. It's weird, but it's just because, and then after I drink coffee, I have to brush my teeth. There's just so many random things. And then, I brush them quite a bit. Anytime I eat something, I brush my teeth immediately after.
No.
So
you gotta swish around some water.
So Holly will be your number one subscriber.
Number one customer for sure.
Don't you count the strokes for your deodorant?
I used to. Yes, I do count the strokes for my deodorant. They have to be even. So yes, and and I've tried before in the past where I've been like, okay, it's not even and it's fine. So it'll be like 10 strokes, 8 strokes, and then I'll be done. And then it's like literally like 10 minutes later, I have to go on and do 2 strokes on this arm.
Oh, man.
I can't do it. It's like got to be the same amount. It's got to be even number. It either has to end on a 5 or an even number. I could never end on an odd number.
That's too funny.
Which is funny because my favorite number is 7. So I don't know how this all works out.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I still use your dollar method though. You know what I mean? To talk myself into purchasing something. I'll be like, well, I use these pair of shoes 60 times. Like, yeah. Now I got freaking 40 pairs of Vans that I never even
That's
wore.
it. Same. I justify everything by the dollar amount. So if something costs $100, I'm like, will I use this product 100 times? And if I know for a fact I will use that product, then I'm like, okay, I can spend that money. So there you go. That's how I taught all you boys growing up. That's how you do it.
Will I drink the Starbucks drink 20 times?
There you go.
And that's awesome. Well, hey, Reilly, it's been fun to have you on here.
It's been fun being here. Thank you.
Yeah. I look forward to talking with you more about this. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the show today.
I do have to say one more thing before we wrap.
All right.
I have some news.
Oh,
I applied for grad school yesterday.
Oh my gosh!
Didn't
you already haven't you already done grad school?
I have an MBA, but I've just been
student loans are due, aren't they?
Yes, student loans are coming due in October, and they're a lot. They're $1,500 a month if I don't go back to school. And so I'm like, you know what? I love to learn, and I'm bored. That's it. And this will take up some of my time. Dating's not doing so hot for me, so I figured I'm just going to be busy. So I started the certification course to start serving papers. So I'll be doing that. And I'll be going to grad school. And I was looking into law school, even though I have no interest in that. I thought that would be a good thing to get into and have knowledge on. But the ABA, so the American Bar Association, there are no 100% online accredited law degrees. So I can't do it online and I can't go sit in a class. So I've decided to go into something that interests me and that I love to learn about and is one of my favorite topics. So I am going to be getting a Master's of Homeland Security with an emphasis in counterterrorism. I don't know what I'll do with that. I don't really care what I'm going to do with that. I just can't write. I can't wait to write the papers. This is my most excited. Like, I'm so excited to write these papers.
Nerd. Oh, awesome. Holly is back in school. Well, you applied.
Hopefully. I've applied. But I applied to Penn State's where I got they have one of the best Homeland Security programs, where I got my undergrad from. I feel like it'll be good. I feel like I'll get accepted, but I'll keep you guys updated.
So Reilly said, I took the no plan, the no college route. Reilly's like, hey, I did it in 3 and maybe 4. And Holly's like, hey, I'm 30 years in.
Doing it in 30 years in.
I'll be honest with you. One of the main reasons why I did go to school is because it was for free. I'll be honest with you.
I wish mine was for free.
Why not?
I figured.
Knowing that I have these student loans coming due and it's $1,500.
Here's Holly's plan. I have these student loans coming due. As long as I'm in school, I don't have to pay them. I will go to school the rest of my life till the day I die and never have paid back anything.
Here's the thing.
Once the student loans
I hate paying money to the government. They already get enough out of me in taxes that I feel like, you know what, forget it. So when I'm done with this degree, I might go to law school, but I'm going to get a different degree, whatever it is. I'll be in school.
Funny. Cheating the system.
So,
that's great.
There you go.
Well, we'll talk about this next time, Holly. So chances are we probably won't.
We'll forget.
Dad got pitch slapped yesterday. He fell out of the bed of a truck.
Yeah, it's always the trucks too that he's falling out of.
Always.
Remember, he's 79. So
tow trucks, pickup trucks. Here we go.
Yeah, and Chad, it's actually Chad's truck, and my dad had it, and he was sweeping it out and fell over, and so he fell out of the truck about 4 feet. Went to the hospital. We're not able to laugh at it yet, but he did go to the hospital. He didn't break anything. He's in good spirits. He's doing good. So we know Dad's listening. So prayers up for you, old man. And I told him straight up, like, because Dad, he works with us in our processing business. And I said, hey, we're creating a contract, and in your contract, it says you cannot be more than 6 inches off the ground. Period. Like, you can't.
I feel like that's a good clause.
And if he falls out of a truck again, it's over. Canceling the contract.
You gotta have a safety harness on at all times.
Yes. So, old man, come on, stay out of the pickup trucks. And what's funny is, Holly, you're like, you knew it was going to happen. Like, you knew when you walked up into that truck bed that you were going to fall out.
You knew. You had to have known. Like, it's like any project we start. We know when we start a project, we're not finishing it. But against all odds, we think this time is going to be different. But deep down, we know it's not. It's never going to be different.
I still have a torn apart go-kart in my garage, by the way. Still torn apart.
From weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. You get around to it. It just hasn't rained enough yet.
So that's true. So guys, if you can, on a serious note, definitely pray for some healing for my dad. He is banged up pretty good. He's not said he's feeling a little better today. Just happened last night, but he definitely had another Pritchard moment. And so for me, I've got to be careful when I'm in the bed of my truck. So I definitely don't want to fall out, which I've almost done.
Just put the tailgate down and drive, and then you don't got to sweep it.
Good point.
I'm like, why are we trying to sweep a bed of a truck anyways? Get on the highway. It'll all come out. Anyways, Reilly, thanks for being on with us. I'm excited to talk to you more. And we will wrap this up, and we will see you guys next show. Thanks for being here.
See ya.
All right, see ya. Thanks for having me.
Hey, what's up, my channel? Please hit the drop a like and hit the subscribe button. Looking for my first subscriber. Can't subscribe myself. Can't do that for some reason. I don't know why. Wish you could.